Okay guys, try to make a quick video here and tell you a little bit about bolt removal, something that pretty much saved a lot of work on this job. First of all, the car came to me with an issue of it would run, but none of the pulleys up front would spin. Sounds kind of bizarre, but sure enough, the key sheared off of the crankshaft and wouldn't spin the balancer, so nothing else would spin. And I believe it just came from whoever assembled it previously didn't have the bolt tight enough, because the bolt was hand loose when I got to it. Excuse me. So I got it apart, verified the problem, the key was sheared off, cleaned up the crank, got a new key in it. One of the steps to getting the new key in, of course, was to take the timing chain and so forth apart to get the clearance and stuff needed. In doing so, I found a broken bolt. Not sure how the engine stayed together as long as it did with this bolt being broken. It was right down in there. You have to access it through the plug here in the head, and it holds the timing chain guide. So it's, sort of important. And if you're anything like me, you can't drill a straight hole, especially in a spot like that. What I did is I first tried to center punch it close to center as I could, drilled it 1/8 inch hole, tried to use an easy out, and it would not budge. I didn't want to torque on it too hard and break the easy out and cause a whole nother world of hurt, but yeah, so I tried that and then didn't really know what to do next because the hole, like I say, was off center, and I couldn't just drill it to put a helicoil in it because it would just bore into the aluminum and not be where the hole needs to be. So there's my heater. Hang on 1 second. So what I did is I talked to Snap-on Pete, our local Snap-on guy. He talked me into one of these. It's a little micro die grinder, like an 1/8 inch drill, basically, die grinder. It was right around $200 for the drill. I forget what the burst set was, but let me tell you, it's expensive, and you might be able to find a cheaper version somewhere, but I'm telling you what, money well spent. It was no problem for that little bit and grinder to chew away what was left of that bolt. If it'll focus. No problem for it. Probably, I don't know, it probably took me 10-15 minutes, and it would have went faster, but I just was being real careful not to go too far into the aluminum and so forth. But yeah, it was cutting it with like no effort whatsoever. And so I got the steel bolt out of the aluminum head and went ahead and drilled it for the helicoil, tapped it, and put the helicoil in it. We're ready to go back together here. So long story short, buy one of those micro drills. It's a lifesaver in this situation. Otherwise, the head would be coming off and going to a machine shop to get machined out properly and keep the hole centered. But I'm telling you, buy one of those drills. From what he told me, they make a 90-degree version of this drill also, but it wasn't quite long enough to get down in there, so I got the straight one for now. It's actually a Blue Point. There's your number and so forth. But money well spent, because I wasn't sure what to do after it wouldn't come out with the easy out. I mean, I used left-hand drills and took my time, heated it and everything, but it just would not budge. But yeah, we're ready to go back together, so if you have any questions on any of this, just shoot me a comment. You can see, I mean, if you're familiar with these engines at all, you know it's pretty tight down in there. You're not going to do too much without something small like that drill, or that's pretty much it. I've seen where guys will weld nuts onto stuff like that, but it was, like I say, recessed down into the hole, like not just that hole, the actual threaded hole, it was down in it pretty far. You weren't going to weld onto it without screwing stuff up. But yeah, buy one of those drills if you're in this situation. It's money well spent, and it's a lot less work than taking the head off and all that fun jazz. So yeah, if you have any questions, shoot me a comment.